Thank you for joining CU Bands and Fans podcast. Our podcast is brought to you by Homegrown KIO. Homegrown KIO is on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. It is a stellar show featuring the great songs that have come from bands originating in Champaign-Urbana. It's Terry and Zach Widup with CU Bands and Fans podcast, where musicians tell their story. Our guest this evening is Four of a Kind, which is a band that plays classic rock and roll. Am I correct?
Among many other things.
Okay, so we have all the band members here. We have Jeff, who plays the bass, Kara, who's the vocalist, Mike, who's the guitarist, and Josh Good, who is the drummer. So I'm going to start. Let's start with Kara, since you're the front woman here. How did you guys, because you guys haven't been, okay, let me ask this. How long have you been Four of a Kind? And when did you form together to become this band?
So we kind of came together maybe a couple years ago. Actually there was an ad on Facebook in a local musicians group, and they were looking for a singer. And I responded to the ad, and they was like, come on out and jam with us. And so went out to Mike's lovely house out on the river and had a really good time. We gelled and kind of got together that way. As most bands do, you kind of lose some members along the way and replace. And we did lose our first drummer. And we picked up Josh, and he has just been, he's been incredible. So it's just kind of been the four of us. There has been one other member, but Jeff and Mike and I have been together since the beginning.
Awesome. And where did the name Four of a Kind come from? And I know there's four of you, but is that where it came
from? We were having a bit of an impasse, if you would call it that, with our initial drummer about a band name. We kind of all were agreed. We liked Voodoo Karma, believe it or not, but our drummer wasn't on board with that, and so we kind of had to come up with something. And this was the one thing that we could agree on, that we were all four, and we all still are four people that are very our own individuals and unique, but when we come together, hey, we're close to one of the best hands in town with local music.
That's great. I love that. So from there, I mean, how long has this been? You guys been together?
It's going to be 3 years this September.
Oh my goodness. So when you played our event, you'd been together 2 years? 1 year?
Well, we just got Josh on board when we played your event in Tolono.
Yeah.
That was last year.
Mm-hmm. I
was a little rough around the edges on that one.
Well, nobody knew because we were all sweating to death.
Yes, but it was a good time. Really enjoyed it.
It was a hot day.
It was a rainy day.
It was. Yes. I enjoyed it.
It ended up being that way. But when we scheduled it, me and Zach with Lou and Denny's, I was like, yeah, let's go May, because who knew it'd be freaking 100 and something degrees the end of May. Yeah. I'm like, it'll be great weather. We'll be coming out of spring, coming into summer. But, oh my God. And then he had just paved that parking lot.
Yes, it was hot.
The tables were sinking and the chairs.
Yeah, my chair sank. Yeah.
But it was a good time. It was a great time.
Absolutely was a great time.
I had a blast.
Yeah. And I think that was the first time that I met you guys. Actually, I think it was the first time I heard you guys. Yeah, duly impressed. Very much so. So Jeff, you're the bass player.
Yes.
And what did you do before this? I mean, I'm going to ask each of you this, so each of you can answer. What bands or how were you involved in music before Four of a Kind? We'll start with Jeff.
Going backwards, Mike and I were in a band called Albert Flasher. In fact, the singer and the drummer that we have replaced were in Albert Flasher. Mike and I worked together, and we got back together because we wanted to play and there was really nobody. I gave Mike the call. We talked and we decided let's start it up. Got those guys in there, and through the process of practicing and trying to get ready for gigs, we decided, Mike and I, that is, that we wanted to learn new stuff, and other people in the band didn't. So we just kind of evolved from that. So I've played with Sweetwater out of Bloomington Market. I played with Slipstream up in this area. Well, I'm up in Sibley. And so they were a big band in Paxton. In fact, Mike and I were kind of in competitive bands. He was in Rathskeller down south, and we were Slipstream up north. Basically the same kind of music, but just different kind of approach.
Yeah. So Mike Rathskeller,
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yep.
I remember that. I remember that.
you do that?
Yeah, I was the original guitar player for the band. Well, yeah, I should back up a little bit. The very first version of that band had two guitar players, myself and another guy named Jun Tatsuoka. Jun had to leave the country as his father passed away, and he had to go back to Japan. So I took over as the guitar player and was with them for about 3 or 4 years after that.
What was that like? How long were you with Rathskeller?
It was probably maybe 4 years total. We formed the summer of '78, and I was with them till '82. So it was the early days. There was used to be a huge club in Champaign called Studio One. We were kind of a fixture there. We played there all the time. It was quite a fun ride in those days. I mean, we kind of got popular quick. We were winning things like Battle of the Bands, basement tapes contests where you send your demo off, and this is for unsigned bands and stuff. But we were winning stuff like that. It was an exciting time. We had the opportunity to open for some really big name bands along the way. Rare Earth, Motorhead, people like that. So it was fun.
So wait, do you miss that kind of that kind of era with live music?
That was a really special, fun time, both locally and nationally. Yeah, stuff was happening. Champaign-Urbana was hopping. There was a lot of live music at the time. Studio One, Panama Reds. I mean, I probably can't even remember them all. There were so many.
Those are the
But,
ones too. Yeah. When I was I was young, but that's
I've
Yeah.
seen you in at least a couple other bands since then.
Sure. Yeah,
I
after
don't remember
Rats,
their names.
after Rathskeller, right after that was a band I formed called Mick Roberts. That was well, there were two versions of that band. We made a record, and that was with Kenny Rice and Barry Lurch. They played on the record with me, and then I formed a band to play live. That was myself, Keith Anderson, Steve Shuren, and Brian Ball, and that was the live version of that band. We played around. Gavin and I, the singer from Rathskeller, we had another band later years called The Unpossible.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, me, Gavin, and Brian McElwain. That was a lot of fun. All original music, and it was just fun as heck writing original music and then playing it live.
So when you said you sent a demo tape in, that's what I'm talking about. Like that kind of way that you had to get to be heard.
Right.
So,
It was a popular thing back then. Radio stations would have contests, and one I think we took like second or third was the Loop in Chicago.
wow.
But the big one, our guitar player that I mentioned, the Japanese guy, when he went back home, we stayed in touch, and so Rathskeller made a demo, and we sent it to our friend back in Japan. He entered that in a Japanese magazine contest. It was Rockin' F Magazine, and we won first place. First place. Got a write up in the magazine. My picture's in a Japanese magazine. I can't read any of the writing.
Do you have it? Do you still have a copy of that?
I do still have a copy of it. Yes.
You need to snap a picture of that and send that to me in email so I can attach it.
I'll dig it out. Yeah, it's in a box, in like a keepsake box, but I think I could put my hands on it.
Yeah. So where did you guys record?
Actually, Mark Rubel's studio.
No kidding.
Yeah, he had a small little studio in Urbana back in those days.
Was
Yeah,
it
it
Pogo?
was before Pogo. Before Pogo. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I
Do you
can't remember
remember,
the
Zach?
name.
I
Faithful
can't
Faithful Sound,
remember. I
maybe?
remember where it was, but I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah. Little house, basically, that he
Mhm.
had converted into a studio. So yeah, that's where Rathskeller recorded their first demo, and that's where Mick Roberts we recorded our record that we did. There was a 4-song EP.
So, and do you still have that recording?
Which one, Mick Roberts or the
Like
Rathskeller
either
demo?
one of them, both of them.
I do actually. When Mark was moving, Mark Rubel was moving out of Champaign. He gave me the master tapes, and so I had the master tapes. I was working at WILL at the time, and so I was able to digitize the master tapes there. And so yes, I still have them.
That's awesome. So, have you sent those to Homegrown KIO? Because it seems like
Yes,
you played some rap.
yes. Yeah, no, they do have the song that we won the contest with, a really early song called "Victim of the Light." They do have a copy of that. They have my Mick Roberts record, the 4-song EP, and then also the group that Gavin and I, me, Gavin, and Brian McKelwin, the Unpossible, we made a CD, and they have that too.
That's just so cool. So yeah, we miss Mark. Thankfully, we had asked. Well, we took a chance, is what we did. We were like, "Do you think?" I asked Zach. I go, "Do you think that we could get Mark Rubel to do a podcast?" Zach goes, I don't know, but well, let's try. I mean, what he could say no, that's all. So we messaged him and was like, "How do you feel about doing a podcast with us?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in." We're like, we were like, "Oh my God, we struck gold right here." And so we did the podcast, and it was completely fascinating. I mean, it was like peeling an onion, just the layers of this man and his wisdom and all the things that he's done and everything. It was one of the best podcasts we've ever done. Well, a year later, he passed away. So, but I will never forget that, because he just said in this podcast, it was just amazing and interesting, you know. So we miss him greatly.
Oh yeah, he was a great guy. I mean, he engineered the first few recordings I did. When I was still working, I managed an audio production studio at the WILL studios, and his class that he taught every year, he would bring his students in to see our studios, like kind of a change of pace. Here's how like a voiceover studio might look to you, and so I would have it set up for him so he could bring his class in, and I'd have a mic set up like we were doing a voiceover session, and it was fun. I enjoyed that. He would call me about once a year and say, "Hey, can I bring my students in?" Sure, bring them on in.
Awesome.
So
That's awesome. Such great, fantastic history in
yeah.
Champaign-Urbana. Okay, Josh,
Yes.
what did you do pre this?
Well, I've pretty much played music my whole life, since I was about 6 years old on a Mickey Mouse drum set. Um, I wasn't going to play music. I had lived down in South Texas for about all equivalent of about 20 years, moved down there when I was a teenager, and I had gotten real big into my music down there, trying to follow my mom and dad's footsteps, and played down on the Texas country circuit down there for about 15 years. I played with a couple blues bands, traveled all of South Texas and then some. And sight unseen, moved back to Illinois, and I was done. I sold my trailer, my rig, everything. I was done. And these guys, I I got on a website, and there was a Jeff was the guy that had the website up, so I figured, I'll try my odds. So I shot a message out. He replied back, and we went from there. I went down and auditioned, and truth be told, was not my music. Was not. I mean, I like the '80s. I like rock and roll. I don't mind getting down every now and then. But I had been in the Texas country for so long that I just didn't think that I was going to be a right fit. But about the third song into the audition, I had already knew. I knew in my mind and in my heart, I was like, just the vibe that I got from the three, Kara, Mike, and Jeff, I knew that I had found home. And we've
Oh,
just progressed so fast, so quick. and we talk all the time, and we're always criticizing each other. Hey, you know, you can do this, or, you know, Mick will tell me, hey, I can't hear you, or there's always something, and we're always trying to help each other get better. So I feel getting back into music up here was definitely the right decision, and I hope it goes on for a long time, because I'm having a blast with this.
Yeah. So you mentioned like what did you do like that you were like, I'm done with music, or like I'm not?
I was just true. I mean, honestly, I felt that my parents had cast my whole family over in the Danville area. I felt that they had just cast such a big shadow my whole life and playing everywhere. I didn't want to fall in my dad's footsteps. I didn't want to be like, oh, well, you're his son. Oh, well, is that your dad? I didn't want to go through all that. So I was done. I didn't want to get into it. But these three, they pulled me in pretty tight.
Okay, so then like who are your parents?
My mom and dad had a band my whole life, the Highballing Band in Danville. My dad was a drummer. My mom was a piano player. And my aunts and uncles, they had a band called Wildlife Band, and they played the Danville circuit.
Wow.
Really about as far as I went to it. And my mom and I moved down to South Texas. She ended up getting with a country band down there, and I still wasn't playing. I was like, no, Mom, I'm not going to do it. I'm done. The right group down there pulled me in. I got into it hard and heavy. Nothing else mattered but playing drums and being on the show and doing the road thing and opening for the big names. It just worked for me down there, and I've been blessed to finally find what I had down there up here. I found the group of people that I want to be with.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. So you're from Danville?
I am, yes.
Okay. Kara, where
Originally.
Yeah. Kara, where are you from?
I'm from Champaign.
Okay. And Jeff?
Originally, I'm from Alney, and I live in Sibley now.
Okay. Where is Sibley?
Well, I'm 2
we all
miles
try
from
to figure that out.
815.
North on 47.
47. Yeah.
47.
Yeah.
And Mike?
I live in Mahomet now. Well, just Seymour, actually. We're just outside Mahomet on the Sangamon River, but originally I'm an Urbana boy.
Okay. All right. Well, it's cool that you guys found each other, and it's just really, really working. You had a gig recently, just because you were on our event list and all of that. Where was it at? I can't remember.
Mark's on First and Gibson.
Yeah. How'd that go?
We played well. Most of the people stayed in the bar part, not in the place where they danced. So it was kind of like playing a concert.
I kind of hate I hate when that happens. I've seen that happen a few times with bands at certain venues where everybody's like in this room over here, and then the band's playing over here where the dancing and all that is available, and they're just doing conversation stuff, and that's frustrating. But
we did pick up some new fans, though. We had people when they were leaving saying, we will be back to see you guys. So that felt good.
That's worth it. That's worth it.
We planted a seed.
Yes.
When are you going to, or what was my next question? Dang it. It had to do with who books your gigs?
We all do.
All of us, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
It's a
We
group
conversate
effort.
to each other. We all call each other and talk to each other, and everything is a group effort in this band. 100%.
That's awesome. So like if you see something open, you contact that person, or you contact them and say, hey, are we available this date or whatever?
Yes.
And then you get it solidified and confirmed.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What about, I'm just going to throw this out there because Paxton has reached out to us because they're trying to really get they're wanting to like really amp up the live music during the summer.
We want them to.
Yeah. Terry, what place?
We want to get in there bad. Trust me.
Yeah. So I'll send you, if you don't already have it, I'll send you the information to
Please
contact.
do.
Yeah,
Please
I
do.
will do that because they're like, hey, we're really amping up our live music, and I think they do it outside in a big, right, Zach, and kind of a
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's a couple
Even
of
better.
there's a couple of venues there indoors that have music too.
Yeah.
In
But
Paxton.
so anyway, yeah, I'll send you that information. You guys can
Fantastic. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
tag that out, and then I'll also send you information about some other places. But I generally will, when we're reached out to, if they're looking for a specific band or whatever, I'll suggest what I think will work for their event. But then I'll be like, okay, now I'm going to hit this as a public post. So,
Right.
if you all are like watching our page, I will throw stuff out there like, hey, this person's looking for this type of music or whatever.
Okay.
If you get this bill, give them a call and give them an email and whatever. But
Terry, we have a Facebook page, and there's a link to a demo that we've made, and we've also got a SoundCloud, so people can actually hear what we sound like, and they can, go from there.
yeah, and I think, and I got you on CI Direct Connect also,
Mhm.
which is they can directly connect to you from that
Yes.
there, and all your but your Facebook page is 4 of a kind, for the number 4 of
Number
a kind.
4.
And I will attach that as well to this podcast so people can hit your Facebook page and hit follow and like, and all of that. So what is where do you guys want, like, is there one specific venue that you guys are like, oh man, we would love to do that?
This is one we're never going to agree on. I can tell you that. Now, you put all 4 of us in a room, we will. But all these answers are going to be different. I promise.
All right, let's go. Josh, start with you.
If I had to pick and choose where I would, if there was one place that I would want to be, just to showcase what we've accomplished and who we really are, I would have to say the Cadillac Ranch in Paxton.
No kidding.
Yes.
Okay. Jeff?
I would love to play the Ford County Fair in Melvin. That's a big crowd, and a lot of people, Ford County, Iroquois, Livingston, come to the bands that play there. That was the big place for Slipstream back in the day, and they still maintain that with the bands.
Awesome. Kira?
I'm a little spoiled, just a little bit. I actually had the benefit of performing at Champaign-Urbana, the Champaign Street Fest in downtown Champaign, one time before with Freebird, which was with Dave Cooper, Jimmy Bean, Kevin McGuire, Stacy Crazy was there actually. And I would get up and do like 2 or 3 songs with them. And that was an incredible crowd. Absolutely incredible. I think we opened up for maybe the Feud and Hillbillies. And it was phenomenal. So I would say Champaign Street Fest, just because it's a great crowd. It's a great time. I absolutely love to play outside. So I'm all about the sunshine and the warm weather. So.
So have you guys done any Friday Night Lives, or you got your foot in the door with that yet?
So I've reached out to the people like 40 North, and sent some inquiries. I inquired with the Champaign Park District. I think the biggest thing is, I just really haven't heard anything back from anybody. I've sent demos, but I may not be contacting the right person either. But some of it is, we're still kind of new. We don't play a lot in Champaign. We play, in Camargo and Charleston and Mansfield, Gibson City. We played Sleepy Creek Vineyards. So, we Pippa's is about the only place that we play regularly in Champaign. We've done Boomerangs a couple times, but we'll see where that goes. But like I said, I think Street Fest would be fantastic.
Champaign Street. Well, first of all the musicians you played with are amazing. And Stacy Cretchy is the one that built my website, CI Direct Connect.
Really?
Stacy,
awesome.
He is awesome. He's a really sweet person. He's very smart,
absolutely,
and extremely talented. And,
absolutely.
And it was a shame we lost him, as far as like he moved out of Illinois. But he's doing well. I do
great.
quite a bit.
Oh, that's wonderful. Tell him I said hello.
I will. I'm writing down a few suggestions so when we get done recording here, just kind of remind me because I want to tell you guys about a few things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like Mike, where would your place?
Well, I really enjoy playing places like Pippa's outside when we can be outside there. I don't know, Boomerangs was fun. I agree with Kara. I'd love to do some street fest stuff like that, kind of higher profile shows and such. I think we're ready for that. I don't know. I like to play wherever there's a crowd that likes live music. I'm not that picky.
Okay, the outside thing, and that's beginning now, obviously. Festivals, I think, are the best.
Yeah.
I feel like I love going to festivals and seeing live music and
Yes.
and just the people and the families and the whole thing. And you guys can be and are like family friendly, right? Like if you had
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
you need to be family friendly.
Yes.
You're definitely a band that can fit that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
For sure. And kids love live music. Kids love it.
Yes.
We need
Oh,
to have
yeah.
more family friendly live music events because it really exposes children to that experience. And
We've
I
got
would
a couple.
agree.
We've got a couple of things coming up. We'll be playing in Melvin. We're playing the 4th of July in Sibley, and that's a very family friendly thing.
Yeah, we got the Melvin Fun Days there, Melvin. You are correct.
did you say Melvin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then so, I'm gonna have to look at Sibley.
Well, we're Sibley's
I
north of
drive
Gibson
through
City.
Sibley every once in a while, going up 47. It's about
Yeah.
40 miles from here, maybe.
That's right, Zach.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
One other thing that kind of makes us a family friendly band is the variety of music that we play. I mean,
Yes.
there's something that appeals to pretty much every age group. We'll do anything from say like Nancy Sinatra to Lady Gaga.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What was your decision on the type of music that you're playing?
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
No, I mean, yeah, we wanted to be kind of a variety band so we could appeal to a large group. Yeah, we play classic rock. Yeah, we play a little country. We play some new stuff, old stuff, but we didn't want to be like all the other classic rock bands, for example, out there. We kind of wanted to do something a little bit different.
yes.
Yeah, you play a little bit of pop, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
And so just kind of like a mixture of just the fun, rock and roll.
Yeah, and we tend to do it our own way too. We do Nancy Sinatra, these boots are made for walking, but we sure don't do it the way she did.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Sarah, I've got to see that. And do you wear boots when you play that song? Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I have some pretty sparkly boots that I bought on vacation in Arizona, so I've drug those things out every once in a while. So it's a lot of fun. I like the showmanship of it all. I love the sparkle and the sequins and all of that.
So what's you guys' when it comes to your fans and after you do a gig and all of that, what do you want people to come away with? We lost Kara. Did we just lose her visually?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
it still says Kara.
Still hear you though.
Maybe
If
her
I had
phone went
to-
to sleep.
If I had to put a thumbprint on it, if somebody was to come up, and like we don't just unplug, start tearing down, and load up the van. We are when we're done with the last song, we go out, we talk, we sit down, we'll talk to people. And one thing, if I would want anybody to learn anything or get from the experience of hearing Four of a Kind, is on the way home, I would expect a husband and wife to have a conversation like, did you hear how they played that Eagles song? Oh my God, they played Kids in America. They get the variety of everything. And I want that to be an impact from Four of a Kind that, hey, they're not just country. They're not rock and roll. They're everything. Everybody's pleased.
And they'll remember that.
We
Yes.
hope.
We hope so.
They'll they'll remember it. And did we lose her completely?
Looks like we lost her now.
Hopefully she can log back in.
Yeah, that's probably what she's doing.
Yeah, I'll let her back in here in a minute, maybe.
At our last gig, we had a drummer from the local band in Gibson City, and he paid us a really nice compliment. Said, "I've never heard songs that you do done the way you do them." And like Josh said, that's what we want to leave the people with.
Yes.
Is recognizable, but something that was fun.
What was his name, Jeff? I ended up talking to him afterwards.
Dan Kierfot.
Yeah, I remember Dan saying, "Man, Josh, I really like your chops." He's like, "I've just never heard these songs played like this." And I shook his hand. I said, "It's funny, bud. I've never played them like this." Real nice guy. Really, really enjoyed him coming out and enjoyed the people that came out. It was a lot of fun talking to the folks.
Yeah, so you guys you're a little bit engaging instead of like just unplugging and loading up and heading home. And what do you?
Oh, absolutely.
And Kara's back.
There's Kara.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I refuse to let my music become a job. It is definitely a hobby, and it's something I enjoy. When it becomes a job, I will put my sticks up. I enjoy meeting the people. I enjoy the late nights, the sweats, the hard labor. I enjoy it all.
So that's what I was going to ask next is like how late, what's the latest gig you guys have had?
Oh, Lord.
It's not so
Me
much
living
the
in
gig, it's how
Fairbury.
far away the drive is.
Yeah.
We played Charleston, and I think we got home about 3:00.
Yeah, I'd say Lefty's Holler in Charleston.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like the old days, isn't it, Mike?
Oh boy, I
Yeah.
do remember the old days rolling back into town when the sun's coming up. Oh yeah. Actually, back in my Rathskeller days, we did a place in Peoria, played a place in Peoria called the Coliseum, and it was something we played till 5 a.m. It was crazy.
Wow.
Ouch.
They had places in south of Danville that were open way late too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Disco.
yeah.
Well,
Our
here,
booking agent used to send us up to Galena and Alton. So we've covered a lot of that state of Illinois.
Yeah.
yeah, and well, here, like the Prairie Lands used to be open till 3.
True.
So we would get done with, being at one place and be like, "Ooh, we still got 2 hours and head to Prairie Lands."
I remember that.
Yeah, to hear some more music. And I've met a lot of musicians that are still playing. I met when I was I shouldn't have been in there because I was underage.
Oh, I can relate. I can relate.
I had to go, hear that live music and dance and have fun. And that's really, when I was younger, I just fell in love with live music. I had to go. And Pork and Havana Ducks, wherever they were, I followed them, except, I loved it so much. So
That's the way I was when I was younger. If I wasn't playing a gig or practicing, you'd find me at the Red Lion probably, because I hung out there pretty much just to see the live bands. I loved it.
Now, see, oddly enough, I never went there. Went to the White Horse. I went to that other one you mentioned, the
Panama Reds, Studio
Panama
One.
Reds.
Yeah.
Mabel's.
I went to Mabel's a lot.
Ruby
Yeah.
Gulch.
I was a Mabel's girl.
I didn't go to Ruby Gulch.
See, I can't say that. I was more of a Bluebird or a Mad Hatter or the Black Bear kind of guy in Danville. I had to go see the live music, but it was always family, and they usually put me to work.
I was at all those in Champaign, but I think mostly quite a bit at the Red Lion, but a lot at Mabel's and a lot at the
Ruby Gulch.
hold on, you mentioned the Ruby Gulch.
Panama Reds.
Yeah,
Ruby
Ruby Gulch. That was an interesting place.
Yeah, I never did, never. But
Of course, you guys remember the Alley Cat?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time there too. Played there a lot too.
so when REO came back to Red Lion, did Mike or Zach, did either of you go to that?
Yeah, I got a bunch of pictures of it.
Yeah, I did not. I did have an REO encounter. I don't know if it was that time. They were back in town to play a show somewhere, and I don't remember where it was. But there used to be a music store in Urbana on Broadway, Great American Music. And a friend of mine and I were in there one day, and Gary Richrath walked in. And the owner of the place, "Hey, Gary, how you doing?" He looks at my friend and me, and he says, "You guys know Gary, don't you?" And we were like, "No." So we got a quick introduction. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That music store, you never knew who was going to walk in. You just didn't. And that day, it was one of the guys from REO.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
When I was in Slipstream, we took over REO's bus, their equipment van.
What?
That thing has seen a lot of miles.
What? Now, how'd that happen?
Slipstream had that, and I don't know how they bought some of the PA equipment too, from the whoever was selling it for REO.
They sold a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
back then I remember that.
When was that?
82.
Wow, that's so cool. That's just so cool. So, are you guys going to go to the REO Legends?
We're actually playing that day. We're playing down in Camargo at the Log Cabin, but we're doing an afternoon show at 4 to 7. So, but really, we're just, the mac and cheese there. That's what we're excited about, is the Log Cabin mac and cheese.
I heard their food is fantastic.
It's amazing.
It's very good.
We have got to get over there, but I heard their food is fantastic. So okay, so you're playing at the Log Cabin that would be June 14th.
Correct.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make sure we put a plug in for that too. What time are you playing?
Appreciate that.
4 to 7.
4 to 7. Good hours. So what do you prefer hours wise? You prefer playing the earlier gigs or the later gigs, or do you care?
I'm a later guy.
Are you really?
I go with Josh.
Yeah, I like it when I'm able to catch a nap before I gotta go do it.
I don't know. I like the later stuff when I was younger, but these days maybe not quite as late as those guys.
All right, Jeff, what about you?
No, I agree with Josh. I like the later nights. People get a little bit more crazier as the dark comes on, and maybe had a few drinks to help their courage.
Yeah. Kara?
I'm a homebody, so I like the earlier gigs, just and get home and just kind of relax and unwind a little bit. So, but the late ones are great too. I mean, that's there are lots of people out having a lot of good times late in the evening. So, it's fun to be a part of that as well.
Yeah. What I do love is that the smaller communities around Champaign-Urbana have really up their live music. And I love that so much. I mean, I will, because I can jaunt down to Sydney, which is Sydney Saloon and Winston's old
Yes.
Bank. They're both great places. And then you can go to Sodorus and hit Buford's. Route 45 Wayside, which is awesome. Sunday Fun Day. You guys need to do a Sunday Fun Day.
We are the end of June.
Yes.
It's our first time there. We are so excited because every time I drive by there, for years, I was like, that has got to be the most amazing place to play ever. The stage, the sand volleyball. I am super pumped. Yes.
The staff. It is a really, really fantastic. I love going there for the food.
Yes.
You just can't miss with that place.
No, not at all.
Everybody's there to hear the band. And to dance and to just have fun. And it's an afternoon thing. But they're having
absolutely.
Yeah.
People can party in the afternoon too, day drinkers.
Yeah. And more and more people, maybe us older people. They like our page actually has people from the age of 35 to 68, I believe, is our highest fan base. Women, we have more women followers by maybe 7% over men, but it's almost equal, which is wild. But
Nice.
the live music listeners or people that attend shows are more of our age.
Yeah.
Well, my age. I don't know how old you guys are, so I'm not going to say. Uh,
They invented water when we were kids.
One,
I think
you
I'm
know
the
what?
youngest.
Yes, Josh is the baby of the group.
Yeah, I think I am. You can't tell with all the gray, but I think I am.
but the older people are the ones that's going to hit the live music. They're the ones going to the shows. They're the ones paying for the drinks. They're the ones doing
Yes.
the dancing. Believe it or not, they're the
Yes.
ones that are dancing, and they're the ones that are really enjoying it. Now we're trying to get the younger people more interested, more exposed. At this time, they're more interested in a sports bar and their cell phones and chatting and socializing and all of that. However, Cliff Stoker hosts an open mic. He does one at Daly's and he does one at Winston's. And that open mic, like these young people started to show up and play. And we were like, wow, look at all these young people. Like, they're not even 21 yet. And they loved it so much because it gave them a chance to get comfortable and to play their music and to be heard and to gain some confidence. And once they did that, now they're out gigging with bands. It is what, and we love it so much because it's like, there's our next generation of live music. And
absolutely,
that's important. It's really important. And it's cool because they'll go to other music things, but our music community, it is older, but there's so many legends and so much history and so much that you guys can, convey to the younger up and coming. And that's important. That connection needs to stay.
I agree.
Constant.
That's one thing I've noticed about the local music scene in recent years. You don't see a lot of young bands playing around. Like you were saying, the music community is pretty much older folks, the ones playing regularly anyway. I don't know why that is, other than maybe there aren't that many venues for the younger bands to play these days. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
it seems like the main place where the younger bands are playing is Canopy Club.
Yeah.
But okay, so like you remember Cams?
Oh yeah.
Cams used to have live music, and that campus used to be a live music mecca. And
yes,
then
absolutely.
That died off. But doggone it, Owen Knapp.
Oh yeah.
Knapp started playing at Cams. I am like, shut up. You are in there with those young people playing live music in Cams again. That is so cool.
that's amazing.
That's what these guys are doing. Like they're bringing that exposure to live music to where these young people are going, hey, live music kind of, I'm kind of digging this. And they're out there dancing. They're just having a blast. So
most definitely.
Yeah, we need that. We need it because otherwise if we don't have this up and coming, it will sooner or later it'll die off.
And that's one of my biggest fears is something like that dying off. There's, like you said, there's so much history just in the Champaign area. A lot of people don't realize it, and there's living legends that are just out there. And I sit back and I think about it. There's just so much to offer with live music. It does so much for different people in different ways, and it's a great pleasure to be able to add that.
Yeah, and I'll add that being in this music community in any way. I mean, if you're a sound person, if you're a light person, if you're just somebody that shows up at shows, fans, all of that, you are, honest to God, your family.
Yes.
Like everybody begins to know each other, network together, and just like it's like everybody just loves each other and watches out for each other, and that is huge. That's
That is how
that's
Mike and
hard
I
to find.
met.
yeah, it is.
Mike and I met that way. He ran sound for Flashback when I was in the band, and then you're a guitar player, and the next thing you know, we're playing in a band together, and it's proved a great relationship for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah. You make those relationships, but we've seen, I mean, Zach and I, oh my God, it's I can't, I still just, I almost just have no words because it's
You
so,
can't.
how
You
many,
can't put a finger on it. You really can't.
you can't, but
Well, it's
there's,
No.
great that you guys are putting this stuff out, Terry. It's so good that you're getting all these bands out there recognition.
yes.
We want to thank you for helping
Yes,
get our
most
name out there
definitely.
too.
Mhm.
uh,
You know,
Absolutely.
well,
as a live musician, we struggle, and the struggle out here, it's not like it used to be years ago. Like we were talking about, people come out, drink, and have a good time. It's a different era. It's different genre. It really is a struggle, and that's one thing I would encourage people. If you do come see us, or if you do get on Facebook, hit us up with a comment. Tell us what you would like to hear. Give us some ideas, because we're down to clown with anything. Trust me, we will
That's
try it.
right.
right. And, and that is, and fans of live music love being able to do that. Here, let me put some in.
Yes,
Not criticizing. It's not a criticizing thing. They won't do that. But they love to get involved and go, oh, they heard me. They heard what I
right.
said. They're gonna
We
play
do
my
care.
song. Yeah. And that's what that's good. That's a really good thing that you just said, because that's what I'm trying to say. The care is there. The care is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here
I
I
can
am.
sit there behind that drum set every weekend, and I can pinpoint and stare at each and every table, and I'll make it a point, and so will any one of the people in this band. They'll go down and talk. I've seen Kara go out, walk off stage, and just sit down with the group of people and put the mic in front of them, and let them sing. We do care about you out there. We want your feedback as much as we want to give back to you.
Yep. And that's fun. And that's what people need more of, because the world has become so incredibly stressful. And
Yeah.
and
Yes.
that's what I've always said about live music is like, well, I had a really good dear friend, and we had a difference of opinion, because he was like, you need to do more original music. I'm like, we're tapping into that. That's a whole deep thing. That's going to take us a minute to get that up and out, and but we're doing that. We're doing the original music. And he was like, the cover bands, da, 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 da. And I'm like, you hold on a minute. First of all, our page was built on cover bands, and
Right.
second of all, people want to go out, hear that music that they know, have a beer in their hand, hit that dance floor, and de-stress. And that is crucial.
That
Yes.
reminds me of a story. I was at Memphis on Main, and Caleb Cook's band was playing, and they had a lot of original stuff, but they had a lot of covers too. And I was talking to him before the show, and he says, "Well, should we play all of our covers in the first set and chase everybody away, or should we play it during a second set when they're already gone anyway?"
You mean all our covers or all our originals?
Play the originals, and he said, "Should we play the
Yeah,
originals in the first set and drive
Yeah.
everybody away?
Yeah.
Play the originals in the second set when they've already left anyway."
But there's been a shift, because
Yeah.
people are now they're interested in original music now. They're
Yes.
they're seeking that out. They're interested in it. But cover bands will always be the what people are going to go and listen to, because they want to have that fun. They need it. They need it. People need it.
Yeah,
And
That's one thing. That's one thing we kind of pride ourselves on, because, and there's a lot of bands, you'll hear a lot of bands doing the same songs. You'll hear it all, different ways and that sort of thing, which is great. I mean, you have to do the super poppy, everybody knows those songs. But, some of the stuff that we do, really other bands haven't done. We do a couple of Blondie songs, things that you remember from, the radio back in the 80s, or, you were listening to that, cassette tape when you were in high school, the songs that but maybe they didn't play 500 times on the radio. So
Yeah.
that's really what we kind of bill ourselves as, it's all the stuff that you forgot, that you loved and the words to. So
Yeah. And then when you hear it, you're like, oh my God, yes.
yes.
I know. I'll tell on myself on this, and then we'll wrap this up. But okay, so there's two songs played to death. One is Last Dance with Mary Jane. Okay. So when a band starts playing that song, I go out and take a break because I've heard it so freaking much in 13 years. I have heard that song so much that I can't even stand that song now. And then Pat Benatar, Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one's overplayed.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I can't do this song one more time. I just can't.
Yeah.
But that being said, you guys are awesome. I thank you so much for being on our podcast. We
Absolutely.
will attach all of your information on the podcast, your Facebook, and just all your contact information, the whole 9 yards. But hang in there for a minute. After we get done recording, I want to talk to you about something. And thank you guys so much. We look forward to seeing you.
We'd like to
Thank
thank
you.
you and Zach too,
Thank you
Terry.
for having
Thank you
us.
much for having
Thank
us.
you. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
You are most welcome.